Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. In this video we are going to take a look at the exclusive content that we just got in the global version of the game, which is called the Abyss Zone Beta. Now if you have played other mobile games like Dissidia Opera Omnia, you would probably recognize this as some sort of tower dungeon, which means this will essentially be an unlimited amount of floors. However, in the first set of release for the Abyss Beta in Opera Omnia, we only get to have 6 floors, and every third floor acts some sort of like a gate system, which you will need to beat a Cosmos level stage before you can move on. Also, it's important to note that in order for you to unlock the Cosmos stage, you will have to fight all the field bosses on every third floor, which basically means they act as a sort of key in order for you to unlock the gate. Now, you would probably recognize this if you are a older player, but the system that they have implemented is the same as in the Heretic quest. And what I mean by this is you do have to run a perfect run in order for you to unlock the Cosmos stage on every field boss. Basically, you have to clear all the missions in the missions tab, plus get the minimum amount of high score. Once you have done so, the 3 characters that you use are basically locked out of the other field bosses until, of course, you unlock the Cosmos stage. Then you can reuse those characters that you use in order to clear the Cosmos stage. Now, I do hope I am making a lot of sense. Probably for the older players, you would probably recognize this straight away. However, for new players, you probably be scratching your head whether you want to do this or not. Now, unfortunately, this event or this new dungeon-like place is pretty much for veteran players. You will need a lot of different characters in order for you to actually open up this dungeon for yourself, and I would suggest that grabbing a lot of EX weapons, and of course leveling up your characters in order for you to clear this dungeon. Now, the field bosses sort of have a EX type of difficulty in terms of how hard they are to clear. They're not essentially too hard, however you are sort of limited on the amount of characters that you can bring, because some of them will ask you to have some sort of a white crystal character, or bring a character with a heavy big sword or heavy sword, and some will ask you for a small sword, some will ask you for a purple crystal character. So you are sort of limited on the characters that you can use as well. So this particular dungeon is really made for the veteran players. I'm really sorry for the new players, but you probably will just have to skip this one out. Now, before we do begin with the video, one last thing is I am actually at my wit's end as to how to present this video. Whether you guys still need me to sort of make a video on the field bosses or put them all together here, or do you just want me to cover the Cosmos fight? Basically, the Cosmos fight basically really covers all the field bosses' last boss in their respective fights. So I feel like if I just cover the Cosmos stage, that means like I'm sort of covering the other field bosses as well. So right now, as of right now, I feel like I should just be covering the Cosmos stage because that is the hardest fight currently in the Abyss beta. So in this video, I'm just going to be covering the Cosmos stage, and I will be covering the stage 6 Cosmos fight as well later on. Now I feel like if you guys want me to cover the other bosses, please let me know down in the comments below if you are struggling with them. If you need me to make some sort of a quick guide to the field bosses, let me know and I will do my best to try and cover them. In the meantime, I'll just be covering the Cosmos fight. So without further ado, let's start this video. Alright, so that was a very long introduction, but I thought I would give you guys an overview on how the Abyss beta works. So anyway, let's start this with the Abyss beta 3-9, which is the Cosmos fight for stage 3 or floor 3. So in this one, you do need to have one black crystal character, one shuriken type character, and one heavy sword character. So my recommended list for this is going to be, for the black crystals, going to be Squall, Zack, Golbez, Setzer, Kefka, Vivi, and Noctis. As for the shuriken type characters, I only have a few here, which are Setzer, Waka, Ace, or Lael. And for the heavy sword characters, you have quite a bit of an option with Paladin Cecil, Squall, Cloud, Sephiroth, Zack, Cypher, Vayne, Ashe, Beatrix, and Jet. Now Ashe I put there because we are going to be getting her EX pretty soon, so just looking forward ahead. But in the meantime, if you don't have her EX, you probably have to bench her for a little while. Now let's get into the thick of things, which are basically going to be a little bit different from my other videos. I won't be listing down the abilities of the bosses because these are bosses that we have seen before, so I don't really want to keep repeating myself in terms of their abilities. However, they do have some unique weaknesses from their normal counterpart. So the Heretic Kraken is basically weak to water, melee, and physical range attacks, and it is resistant to magic base attacks. Now the difference, as you guys can see, is me listing down certain strategies that you can use in order to beat this boss. For these first wave, basically it is the Sand Kraken, so the things that you need to look out for are the Stonera. You need to check your turn order to make sure that you can re-break the Sand Kraken at any moment, because if you don't, then it will use its HP attack. One thing to note is it will buff itself at the start of the fight, meaning it will have increased stats. Fast characters are actually quite welcome here because the Sand Flurry buff basically gives itself a speed up as well. Now my final tip for you guys in this particular wave is to bring a healer to restore the HP that you have lost, because the Sand Kraken does like to use an HP attack here and there. It does have two options, which are the Dance of Tentacles or the Tentacle Explosion, which are both a melee brave attack plus an HP attack. Now in the second wave, we are treated with the Heretic White Priest, and basically it has a weakness to holy and magic base attacks and has a resistance to dark element. My tips for you guys here, or strategy, is basically to use your summon here. You do not want it to let it revive the brothers, as this will make the fight longer, which means you will be using up more turns, which means your score will be a little bit lower. There is no high score required apart from the minimum high score that you need to clear the fight, but still it's probably better to be safe than sorry. Now the other thing to note is the priest does have a low chase value of 10. which means you will be able to launch this boss quite easily, and if you have Lail, it's basically launching it every attack. Now, AoE or splash damage are welcome here in order for you to beat the brothers very quickly in order for you to hit the white priest. Now, the third wave is the Heretic Qiyamah, which has a weakness to earth and melee attacks. As for the strategy here, it will use Maelstrom on its first turn, so go ham and use all your brave on your HP attacks to make sure that basically you don't lose all those braves. Now, the next one is Thunderbolt. This can be quite annoying, especially if you get paralysis. Not only this, that the Heretic Qiyamah actually has Poison Mist, which can poison you. So there's quite a few things that you will want to prevent. So having Lena or Selphie are worth bringing in this fight. As for the last tip for you guys here is in regards to charge and mega charge. Now, I didn't get to the point where it actually used this. However, I do want to let you guys know it's probably best to kill it before it gets to this point. Whether you want to delay it or using Vayne, using turn shenanigans, as long as you can prevent it from getting to this point, I think you should be fine. And now we're on to the final wave, which is basically the 3 Heretic mannequins, which are Tifa, Cloud, and Sephiroth. Now there are different kinds of weaknesses between the two. As for Tifa, she is weak to thunder and magic based attacks, and doesn't have any resistances. As for Cloud and Sephiroth, they are both weak to melee and physical range attacks, but they do have a resistance to magic base attacks. So strategy for this one, splash damage is definitely welcome here. Try and concentrate on Sephiroth or Cloud. The next one is, again, Sephiroth will use his Heartless Angel on his first turn, so you can go ham on whoever he's targeting. Just make sure, obviously, the other characters aren't targeting the same character as Sephiroth, so you don't get broken. Actually, a tank would be nice here to take heat off your DPS, so you can bring Zack or the Warrior of Light, whichever one you desire. Alright, so I have covered every single boss, and hopefully that was enough for some general tips and guides. So we are gonna go through some possible party compositions this time around. Since there are no boosted characters, the first one is the one that you guys are seeing in this video, which is going to be a Zack, Lena, Lail with a Vayne or Quistis support with an Ifrit summon. Basically, Zack is one of the best tanks that we have currently, until of course the Warrior of Light gets its rework. Lena is still one of the best support characters, and Lail, we got his EX right now. Unfortunately, because we are limited to these shuriken type, weapon type characters, the only good ones that I can really think of right now are Lail and Setzer, and maybe you can add Waka there as well. I know some people might say Shadow sort of fits there as well because he is a Black Crystal character, plus he does have the shuriken, which I suppose in a way you can put it in one go, but I don't think Shadow right now is really good in the global version of the game. So you might have to either just play with Lail or Setzer, depending on who you have. As for the next one, I have here Squall, Lail, and Selphie. Of course, this is again with a Vayne and Quistis support plus an Ifrit summon. This may be a little bit short on abilities at times, however, you do have to be a little bit conservative because this is a Cosmos fight. I would try to save a lot of Squall's Renzo Kuken, especially on the priest, and of course the final wave where you have to fight 3 mannequins. For the next one, I have Zack, Vayne, and Lael. As you guys can see, it's gonna be a lot of Laels in this one, unfortunately, because we are quite limited on that Shuriken character, as I mentioned. This is with a Quista support and, of course, an Ifrit summon again. Basically, this is sort of the same strategy as the first one, just without any healing. So a little bit, you have to be a little bit careful here. Zack can heal himself. He is one of the tanks, and you just have to provoke really quickly. Vayne can just turn steel or do his turn shenanigans, and of course Lael can do some launches as well. Really good team, I believe. And for the final one is going to be Vayne, Setzer, and Sarah with a Quista support, and again with an Ifrit summon. Basically, Setzer fills 2 roles of what you need for the missions. Basically, the Shuriken plus the Black Crystal character. This leaves you with 2 slots, which I believe Vayne and Sarah can fill in quite nicely. You can obviously replace one of them with Lena as well if you want more of a support type character. However, I feel like you will need a little bit of when it comes to the DPS if you're bringing Setzer with you, because he is quite limited on his abilities, and that is one of the biggest setbacks he has. So if you have a very good Sarah and you have those cursed passives, then it's probably worth bringing Sarah along, and Vayne obviously can refresh his abilities, and that will make the fight a little bit easier for you. So we are finally at the end of this video. Now, the first thing I do want to say is I apologize if the video is sort of everywhere at this point. I'm not exactly sure as to how I would format this at the moment, but I did try my best to try and cover as much as I can. Now, the one thing that you will notice as well is that I have cut some of the fight basically in terms of wave by wave. So I only tried to show you guys as much as I can towards the end of the fight, because if I did put the footage there as well, it will be a long video, and I don't think I want to talk too much in terms of the strategy, like going it, like, you know, for every move that I make, I'll make a comment. I don't particularly feel like doing that with this video, so I feel like I have covered enough bases to help you guys to actually clear this fight. So overall, what do I think of this fight? Obviously, I do think it is quite challenging because you are limited to a number of characters, especially the Shuriken type characters, especially if you don't have Ace's EX like I do. I do feel like Ace can do pretty well as well. The only reason why I didn't recommend him is because I am exactly not sure, not exactly sure how good he is, because I do not have his EX, and I tried to get his EX before and completely failed. So if someone actually uses Ace, leave down in the comments below and let me know how he turned out. And obviously you are limited to some of the heavy swords and plus a Black Crystal character as well, which we have quite a ton of, I must say. So not overall limited in that factor, but the Shuriken, definitely the Shuriken type characters, I don't know what exactly how to call those. It looks like a Shuriken to me. So yeah, in any case, that's how I found the fight. It is pretty challenging, but if you do have a good tank, I believe like Zack, this fight isn't too difficult, I would say, and especially if you have Vayne as well, you shouldn't have any problems with this fight. Anyway guys, I think that's it for this video. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I'd like to hear from you guys. Which team did you use to beat this Abyss? beta, cosmos, whatever you want to call it. Actually, we'll find out in the near future what the community will start calling this, or towers, or whatever the case may be. Anyway, leave down in the comments below any suggestions to what I should call this as well. This is Munchkins logging off. Oh, before I forget, make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook as well. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.